Power or pleasure? Semen retention. You got to ask yourself, this is the fundamental question. You can have one or the other. Do you want power or do you want pleasure? And pleasure ultimately will lead to suffering. Your power will ultimately lead to pleasure. This is how you feel naturally masculine, good within yourself. This is how you act according to your nature. Retaining that sexual energy, retaining your semen. Think about the most dominant, alpha, masculine, intimidating, top of the food chain animals in the animal kingdom. Lions, tigers, bears. Are these animals like jerking off all the time? No. They're jerking off to porn? No. They literally only ejaculate for procreation. They try to get the females pregnant. That's literally what it's for. You don't see animals out there just like going to town on themselves like every night. Like, it's unnatural. It's unnatural. You are not acting according to your nature. Maybe monkeys, but like, do we really want to emulate monkeys? Like, come on. And even them, like, they're not like fearful, dominant, like primal, cold predators, right? If you're talking about the cold, like primal predators that are just lethal, right? They're unforgiving. They're focused, they're dialed in, they're honed in, right? They're on edge. Those are just, well, you think they're having pleasure all the time? They're rarely in pleasure. Most of their life is dealing with hardships, hardness. They gotta hunt. Nature's brutal. Nature's a beast. It's brutal. They gotta hunt. They gotta kill in cold temperatures, right? They don't know when their next meal's coming. They could fail for like, an entire month or two. Like, they don't know. It's brutal out there. They don't know if predators are gonna come and kill their cubs or kill their woman or whatever, kill their pride or the pack, right? Like, it's brutal. High stakes. This is how you got to live your life. You can't live a life of pleasure. If you live a life of pleasure, you won't live a life of power. You will be a slave. You will live a life of a beggar. You need to retain your energy, because this is the only way that you can be powerful. This is the only way that you can truly be masculine, right? Truly be primal. I think most men today, they've never actually experienced what it's like to be really masculine, like an actual man, like deep masculinity. I'm talking deep masculinity, right? Where you're just like, you're hardened, you're like made of steel. You're just cold to the touch, honed in. Most men, they are castrated. They're giving away their energy. They've lived a life of just giving away their energy, and they're being brainwashed into thinking that it's normal. Like, oh yeah, it's just normal. It's just a normal escape. Just some temporary sensual pleasure every night or every other night or even every week. It's like, that's at best, probably. Most men, is like every night, every other night, right? Sometimes it's multiple times a night. And to say nothing of PORN, man. I mean, oh my God. I've made videos on that. Like, it's terrible. It warps your brain so bad. But most men, they don't live their lives deep in their masculine. I think most men today are more feminine than they realize. You know, I noticed that about myself along this whole semen retention journey. I've been on for a year now, and that's not straight. There have been some relapses in there, but a year in, and like, oh my gosh, it's night and day who I am now versus who I was when I started. And I've noticed certain things that are dropping away, certain feminine tendencies and characteristics that are just kind of dropping away. Like it just drop away naturally. You don't have to do nothing. It's all on autopilot. It's all organic, right? It just happens. You just start to become more masculine, right? And you start to actually feel like you have power now. Like when you're in a room with people, with women, you naturally start to feel powerful. I don't even know how to explain it, but you can be sitting there doing nothing. And it's like you almost sense that like you have like a killer instinct, that most around you don't have. You start to see them differently. You start to see through them a little bit. You start to see the cracks in their armor. You start to see that they're doing things behind closed doors, right? That aren't that good. They're delving in darker habits. And it's showing in their mannerisms, their behavior, their body language, all that stuff. They don't have the energy that you do. And you might have to hold yourself back a lot of the time. Like it's common where you might have to hold yourself back because you're just, you might just be too much when you express yourself fully and naturally and authentically around these people, because they'll be intimidated. It'll be too much to them. They'll feel like they're threatened. Like you'll be like a threat. So you feel like you kind of have to like you got to cage the tiger. You got to cage the panther. You know what I mean? Like just chill for a little bit around most people. But I mean, naturally, this energy will just come out. You'll start to express yourself in certain ways, and you'll just start to become and move in a different way, right? You'll just be more comfortable within yourself, more confident within yourself, naturally. There's no trying in it, right? I've said this before, like it's just all effortless. It's all on autopilot. This whole thing is running itself. All you got to do is do the right things, right? So you just got to choose, right? Do you want that power? Do you want to be in rooms where like you have energy, you have power, you have something that others don't have and that others want, but they don't even know that they want it, but they do. And they sense it in you, right? They start to respect you more. They start to see you differently. It's not to say that you enter rooms and you're just like some sultan and everybody starts, crying and bowing at your feet. Like it's not like that, right? It's not like that. It might be in 10 years time. Who knows? That'd be something. That'd be wild. That'd be kind of weird. But no, it's not like that. It's just you notice that they're a little more hesitant around you. They're a little more, because it's energy. Like energy rules this thing. Energy rules this whole plane. Like I'm trying to tell you, there's a language of human beings. Like energy is the secret language of human beings. It's the unspoken language of human beings. There's words, right? There's what everybody's saying. And then there's a sense, there's an undercurrent that everybody's kind of intuiting naturally. They can't even help it. It's like it's all doing it itself. People sense energy. They sense like, the killer instinct within another person. They sense that they're just balanced. They're comfortable. They're within themselves. Right? That has a certain sort of quality to it. People notice that. And of course, like this comes with material benefits, financial benefits that will come along. I've noticed that within my own journey, and it is similar to other men's journeys on this, but you're gonna have to deal with pain, right? There's no way out of it. You can no longer live a life of pleasure. That's what you have. What you get, you're gonna have to make a huge sacrifice. Like, this does not come without sacrifice. What you get in return, I think, is great, right? And the longer you do it, the bigger the benefits. But you're gonna have to have staying power. You're gonna have to prove it. You're gonna have to prove it to the universe that you're here, that you're not going nowhere, that you're committed. But you can't live a life of pleasure. You're gonna have to sacrifice this life of pleasure that you've lived for so long, right? Most of us have been doing this for years, man. Years. Most of us since the time that we hit puberty. So we've never actually really known what it's like to genuinely be masculine, like truly resting in masculinity. Like, I think it's very uncommon, right? We don't even know what it's like, really. And this is the only way to know what it's like, is to give up the pleasures, give up the old life, give up wanting to feel good all the time, right? You're gonna have to deal with pain. You're gonna have to face the brutalness, like animals in nature do. They deal with brutalness. They deal with hardship on a daily basis. It's not always good times for them, right? They're not escaping through like all these means. Like, you're not vaping out there. They're not smoking weed out there. They're not taking down bottles of wild turkey out there. They're not, howling at the moon, just like drunk on wild turkey. Like, that's not what wolves are doing out there. It's hard out there. They're taking on life sober. All of nature, like, they take on life sober. Human beings should be no different if we want to maintain our primal edge. Like, if we want to evolve the species, if we want to be the best men that we can be, we need to be acting according to nature. And it's not natural to just give away your energy. It's only natural to give away your energy to procreate, right? That's the only way that is natural. And like, this is hard. Like, this is hard. Like, but you see the benefits that you get, right? You see the benefits that you get, and the more you see it, the more you're just there's not even conviction. It's just, you just know that this works, right? And it makes you stronger, right? It makes you stronger when those lustful thoughts come, when it's really bad, because there's going to be bad stuff. Not only just the lustful thoughts, but like difficult emotions, repressed emotions, repressed feelings, repressed memories, repressed all these things that you gotta work through. And you gotta work through it just yourself, right? Like, finally, you're just interacting with yourself and life unassisted, right? It's brutal. But you gotta choose, which life do you want? Do you want the life where you just get to partake in pleasures and just feel good all the time and escape? You want to escape? Okay, well, when you're gonna wake up every morning and your life's not gonna change. Your life is not going to change. It's going to stay the same, or it's going to get worse. You have to come to a point where you're tired of waking up in the morning and it just being the same thing. And you feel low on energy and you feel tired, right? And you feel like not good with women and you feel like people don't respect you. That has to get old. You have to come to a point where this is old. I want to take control of myself. I want to run myself. I want to control my urges and my desires and my feelings and my emotions. That's where true power comes from, right? I think it was Epicurus or something. One of the philosophers. They said he who controls himself has true control of others, of the world, right? You need to control yourself. He is most powerful who can control himself. That's just facts. If you don't control yourself, if you don't control your urges, if you don't control your lustful thoughts, if you can't discipline yourself enough to say no, no to this, no to that, no to this, no to that, no to what everybody else is doing around you, because that's what 99% of society are doing around you, then you're going to suffer, right? You're going to suffer long term. You're going to, yes, you're going to be in pleasure, but your life is going to suffer. The only way is to say no, say no, say no, control everything, rise higher, be your virtuous self, and it'll just naturally take place. It'll happen naturally, organically. You're just going to become more powerful and more powerful over time, right? More virtuous, stronger over time. But you got to pick. Do you want a life of power? Or do you want a life of pleasure? You decide. That's it. That's the video.